Halls of a Four Seasons loft. In Austin, I stall, pause. My eyes crawl to a table. Paralyzed by pairwise dice, then attend to this heaven slice of an angel wrapped in skin. Throw dice and woes of life. Love deprived, look at her vibe. What's the meaning of life? One subjective paradise, crystal chandeliers, motives reflected. Often mirrors appear clear, grinning from ear to ear. Craving and raving and grain, rekindle the flame. Closer she draws near, stay there. Remove your underwear, shove it somewhere over there. In paradise, we know our purpose. In paradise, we know what our worth is.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Unpopular Hour. I'm your host, Matt Clark. We're going to be talking about the Super Bowl and what happened in it. Of course, this is Big Monday, which means the Oklahoma State Cowboys are going to play Bill Self and his Kansas Jayhawks. And the Jayhawks escaped with a victory over the Sooners, considering the Sooners hadn't won there since, 93 or something ridiculous. You think of all the good teams that they've had, you have thought would have gotten one W in all that time. But the Sooners played great. They were not expected to be that close to the Jayhawks, even though on the show I talked about, how well they always play in Lawrence, even though they can't seem to get it done down the stretch. But anyway, back to the Super Bowl. Of course, the Rams came back and beat the Bills came back and beat Cincinnati, the Bengals, 23-20. Matthew Stafford threw for 290 yards, got the game-winning touchdown. Like a lot of people talk about, game-winning drives. To me, it's not a game-winning drive unless you actually score a touchdown. If you get a drive, come back, and you kick a field goal, I don't necessarily count that as a game-winning drive. I think game-winning drives are when you actually go down and you get 7, not 3, because you're dependent on the kicker. That should be the kicker won the game. Not the quarterback getting the credit for it, but that should be a win for the kicker, not for the quarterback. All the quarterback did was get them down in position, but the kicker actually got it done. So anyway, they came back and scored, and I was thinking it was interesting that they talk about the line for Cincinnati and how terrible they were. And Cincinnati did a great job of moving the ball at first. The last 5 possessions, they had 4 punts and a turnover. The Rams defense, the second half, just shut them down completely. And then when you look at, they had, he had all these yards. Well, he had 188 yards is what he had. He had 188 yards. Because you take away the 75-yard touchdown, to Higgins, which clearly was, I don't know how the officials came back and said it was the contact was in. What are you talking about? He grabbed his face mask, his head turned. Now, if that was an offensive player, that would have been an automatic penalty. But since it was an offensive guy doing it, the defensive guy, they let it go. Then at the end of the game, all of a sudden you're going to call penalties. Well, those penalties were happening during the game. Clearly, that was one that you let go. So I guess they didn't want to, at the end, because everybody remember when the Rams beat the Saints to get into the Super Bowl and got beat by one of the worst Super Bowls ever, by the way, between them and the Bengals. I mean, Tom Brady and the Patriots, was one of the worst Super Bowls ever. Because, the Rams did not belong there. Because that was clearly pass interference against the Saints that they did not call. So I'm assuming that the referees are like, no, we're not going to let the Super Bowl be decided by a pass interference that is not called. And so I got to appreciate him for that. But, dude, call the game one way or another. I know you want to let the players play. I love that about the game, that you let players play. I have zero problem with that. But at the same time, either let the players play or call penalties. And I was like that when I played. Bro, just let me know what we're doing. Do I get to be physical today, or I got to be or I got to keep my hands off? Which one are we doing today? Because I like to play physical. Anybody who watched me play or played against me know I was a very physical player. I want to put my hands on you. I want to know where you're at. I want you putting your hands on me so I know where you're at, so I can do something to you. So that's what I love. So to me, referees be consistent. Because in that last play, when Cooper Kupp got hit in the forehead or caught the touchdown pass and was clearly I mean, clearly it was a foul because he hit him up top in the helmet. So clearly that was a foul. But then you're going to call holding on the other side. I mean, really? And then on the Cooper Cup play coming across the middle on third down, when they called the penalty against Cincinnati, if you'll remember, if you'll go back and look, 27 was grabbed, the 57 was grabbing the running back coming out of the backfield. So clearly that was two. But then Cincinnati fans, you can't gripe about the officials because you got the T. Higgins. And then remember against Cincinnati, against the Chiefs, when you beat them in Cincinnati, how many penalties did you get called? The Chiefs get called on them so you can win the game, kick the field goal? So let's not gripe about the officiating. Let's gripe about the fact that he threw for 188 yards, really, even though it was two, whatever it was, counting the 75 yards, it should have counted. They had they had four straight in his last 5 possessions. He had 4 punts and a field goal. And a turnover on downs. Let's talk about how dominant them. So let's not blame the officials at that point. Let's talk about the team's inability to move the football. Let's talk about Aaron Donald's dominance and the Rams' dominance on defense, which we all thought was going to happen anyway. Nobody thought the game was going to be that close. But with OBJ going down, really killed the Rams, because I think if OBJ doesn't go down, they beat the crap out of the Bengals. I really, truly believe that. But he went down. Such as the cage football. It's a violent sport. Things happen. Even though nobody touched him, he tore his ACL. Well, he may have tore his ACL. We're going to talk about that later. So let's not talk about the officials during the game. Let's talk about the inefficiency of the Bengals to move the ball the second half. And then on top of that, let's talk about Cooper Cup versus Aaron Donald in the MVP. All I know is 3rd and 1, Aaron Donald grabs Samaje Perine by one arm and pulls him back. Now, some people are talking about how you didn't have Joe Mixon in the game over Perine. Well, clearly Perine is a more physical runner than Joe Mixon. Of course, both of them play. We got to watch both of them at the University of Oklahoma. So yeah, Joe Mixon. You think he would have came down when Aaron Donald grabbed him by one arm? Yeah, Mixon is smaller than Perine. Of course, he's going to come down. So I disagree with that 100%. And then, of course, Aaron Donald comes right back and gets really the sack. Well, it should have been a sack. I don't know. He threw the ball away, but it was clearly a sack. He was in his grasp, and officials were blowing the whistle because the last thing you want is Joe Burrow to get hurt and and Aaron Donald's a large man. So anyway, to me, you could give it to Cooper Kupp, but those last 2 plays sealed the Super Bowl. Now, Cooper Kupp went down the field. He scored on the offensive end. There's no question. People talk about he's the best wide receiver in football this year. Everybody forgets this is not his first year in the league. He did none of this before he got Matthew Stafford. He did 0 of what he did this year. Now, he had the Triple Crown in yards, catches, and touchdowns. And then, of course, he won the Super Bowl MVP. Only Jerry Rice has done that, and only Cooper Kupp has done it in 1 year. So that's the Triple Crown, the Player of the Year, and Offensive Player of the Year, and the Super Bowl MVP. Only Jerry Rice has accomplished that, but Cooper Kupp did it in 1 year. So that's impressive. But let's face it, he's not the best receiver in NFL and pro football. This year he was clearly. But one sample size doesn't mean and I'm going to get on my rant today about social media and these people and these pundits and always this new generation. It's, he's the greatest. No, he's not. He did it this year. What about last year? What about the year before? He was playing then. He didn't do this before. So it's about quarterback, it's about scheme, and it's about the players around you. He has to have players around him in order to do what he does. Now, is he a fantastic receiver? No question. But is he the greatest? No. Is he the best? No. Is he top 5? Yes, I'll give him that. But he's the best receiver in pro football this year, without a doubt. But is he the best overall receiver? If somebody had to ask you and you put him down to who would you rather have? I promise you Cooper Kupp wouldn't be the first name that comes out of the GM's mouth if they want a wide receiver. He's not going to be the first one. But this year, tremendous guy. Did he deserve to win it? I'm not upset about it. But to me, Aaron Donald with those 2 plays to actually end the Super Bowl. And you grab a guy, Perine is not a little dude. Hey, bro, where you going? 3rd and 1, stop. 4th and 1, got the sack penetration. So Aaron Donald probably would have been my NFL, my MVP of the Super Bowl. But the chances of them, I think what Von Miller was the last one. It's either quarterback or running back or wide receiver. It's all about show. It's all about what numbers. It's not about what is put between the lines. And Aaron Donald has been the most dominant defensive player in the NFL the last, I don't know how long he's ever been in there, 8 years, 9 years, whatever it is. I know he's 7. He's made 7 first-team All-Pros. First team. That's what players go by. Not All-Pro, but they go by first-team All-Pro. That's the difference. It's first-team All-Pro. Not being All-Pro, first-team All-Pro. It's like in the NBA. Okay? Making first-team All-NBA is different than making All-NBA. You can make first, second, third team, but first-team All-NBA, that's a total different level. And to do that multiple times. And when you look at Kobe, LeBron, Michael, but Kobe has more. Kobe, like I've always said, it's Michael, Kobe, LeBron. Because LeBron is not feared. All LeBron does is he take advantage of everything that this generation or this generational type people do. Because you can't get hit, you can't this, it's not physical, whatever. You nutrition, you have all these advantages that they did not have back then. So I can't put anybody in this new generation beyond that. Whereas Aaron Donald, they were like, he's the greatest defensive player. No, first of all, that's LT without question because nobody's changed any rules of any games, of the rules of the league or how they defend people because of Aaron Donald. Because remember, there was Warren Sapp before him, and Warren Sapp was dominant as hell. But if you talk about pure dominant defensive linemen, pure dominant, he and Reggie White are the same. They're the same. And Eric Dickerson made a great point today, I thought. He said, he goes, the problem is social media allows y'all to see these guys in a whole different light than back in the day. You didn't get to see these guys. Y'all didn't get to see Dr. J. I did. And if you think these guys are doing stuff, you should saw what he was doing back in the day. Y'all have no idea because it wasn't out there. And you have some YouTube clips here and there, but it's not the same. But all I want people to talk about is now, look at this. That's why I can't put Tom Brady there. You played in an era where they couldn't touch you. Come on, man. I can't give you the best ever. All I can say is you won Super Bowls, no doubt. But the first one you should have never been in because of the tuck rule. That was a fumble. You got the helmet put on you. You coughed up the ball, okay, against the Raiders. So, and then for whatever reason, Seattle did what they did. But the bottom line is you have won 7. But you ain't the greatest NFL quarterback. You are the greatest winner without question because you have 7 Super Bowls. But the greatest quarterback, because you played 44, you have all these records because you played, 8, 9, 10 years past other guys who would have not been able to play as long. How do you think Terry Bradshaw? Don't you think he'd love to be able to not be touched? What about Dan Marino? What about John Elway? What about Joe Montana? What about Bart Starr? What about these guys who would have loved, and Lynn Dawson, would have loved not getting their heads taken off and being able to survive all that time? So I can't put Tom Brady as the number one. I can't do it because you're the best of this generation. Because the greatest of all time, like I've had that discussion, is you doing what you did in any era. That is the greatest of all time. Stop all the nonsense with the winning. Can you do what you did in any era? That is the greatest of all time. That's the measuring stick, period. But social media and all today, all these hype and all this nonsense, can you do what you did in any era? Now, would LeBron be dominant in whatever era? Yes, he would because he's 6'9", 260 with a 40-something minute. Yes. But is he going to be playing as long as he is now? No, because he's going to get his head taken off. His body would not be able to deal with and put up with what he's been able to put up with. Now, would Steph Curry be able to do what he did back then? Yes, because Steph Curry can shoot the ball farther back. He can shoot back. And remember, the three-point line was back further than it is now. They moved it in. And everybody forgets about all these little things that make the game this much more exciting for people these days because this generation wants everything now, quick. And whatever they see in front of him, oh, he's the greatest. I think the greatest defensive linemen are Reggie White and him. Everything Aaron Donald's doing, Reggie White did. Same thing. Reggie was bigger, longer arms, but everything he doing, Reggie did. Same thing. Everybody forgets. He had the sack against New England in the Super Bowl to give the Packers their Super Bowl. So everything he's doing, this ain't nothing new. Okay? But the greatest defensive player of all time is Lawrence Taylor without question. But do I want to put Aaron Donald in there as far as dominance? Yes. I'm going to put him up there. And my three now, I'm going to have to add it. That would be Lawrence Taylor. Because I don't know if you guys know, because like I was talking to my boy PJ Mills, and he said football is the one sport you can't have the greatest of all time as a whole. Because on offense, you don't play defense, you don't tackle nobody. And on defense, you don't make touchdowns. So you got to do it by position. So I did it by position. I did running back, quarterback, and offensive lineman. I'm like, I don't know enough about that. I mean, there's a bunch of them I don't really know. All I know is Dallas had the greatest offensive line of all time. So I'd have to say, give me Dallas's offensive line if I'm going to have to do that. And then I did defensive backs, linemen, uh, 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 defensive backs, linemen, and linebackers. And my running backs were really simple: Jim Brown and Barry Sanders. My quarterback was Bart Starr, uh, Joe Montana, and Tom Brady are my three quarterbacks. My wide receivers were Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens. My defensive guys were Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White. I'd have to amend that now and put Aaron Donald in there, even though I probably would have stuck him in there. But anyway, I'm going to add three to that. And if I had to add another wide receiver to that group of those three, probably Raymond Berry, because he was the greatest route runner in history. So I'd have to put Raymond Berry, Jerry Rice, and T.O. Even though T.O. was a mess, I still got to throw him up there. Maybe even throw in Randy Moss. Okay, I'm going to put in Randy Moss. I'm going to do Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, and Terrell Owens. And then in my defensive backs, I had Deion Sanders and Ronnie Lott. And if I had to throw another one in there, I'd probably throw Ed Reed in there with him, with Ronnie Lott as my other safety. And if I had to do another cornerback, I'd probably have to do either Mel Blount or Herb Adderley because they played on the greatest defensive teams ever, and their job was to shut down the corners, even though the Mel Blount rule is the reason why cornerbacks can't touch wide receivers, because that's why he was so dominant. So, but anyway, those are my list of guys for that. So, but I do put Aaron Donald up there in my list of greatest ever. But like I said, Cooper Kupp, yeah, you won it. I don't have any problem with that. But considering what the Aaron Donald has done over his career, and considering what he's done for the Rams, I probably would have given him to that simply because of sentiment. And though he deserved it because he made the last two plays, he won the Super Bowl for him at the end. Even though Cooper Kupp got him all the way down the field, did score the game-winning touchdown, Aaron Donald really sealed the deal for them. So that would be a tough thing. Now let's talk about Matt Stafford, whether he is in the Hall of Fame talk or not. He's never been All-Pro. He's got the most comebacks of all the quarterbacks that played in this era when he did. He was in Denver is the problem. But he had a beautiful no-look pass. And somebody said something the other day. They were talking about that Matt Stafford is doing, that Patrick Mahomes is doing everything that Matt Stafford has done for years, except he was in Detroit and we never saw him. So is that the same thing? I mean, he had a beautiful no-look in the Super Bowl to Cooper Kupp across the middle. That was a hell of a pass, on point. So he's been doing some great things. Now, I want to talk about that. So he's going to have big numbers, and all the big numbers of all the quarterbacks that are in the Hall of Fame, or that have all the numbers now, are all from this generation, where you can't touch the wide receiver, you can't touch the quarterback, you can't this, you can't that, you can't. Because what? People want gratification now. They don't want to wait. They want everything now. So that's why they're doing that. So I'm still, let me give me a couple more years of this, then I will say yes. But if I had to say right now, my comment would be no. I don't think you're one of the, you don't deserve to be in that hall with those guys. I thought it was interesting. They were talking about the Bengals coming back. Remember, Dan Marino went. He never came back. Aaron Rodgers has only been twice. Or once, I should take that. And he hadn't gone back. So getting back to the Super Bowl, like Joe Burrow said, is not happening. Plus, you have Patrick Mahomes. You have that beast, Josh Allen, in Buffalo. You have that upcoming beast, Justin Herbert, in San Diego. And my boy Jose thinks that they're going to get Aaron Rodgers in Denver, and I still don't think that's going to happen. But I'm hoping for you, brother, to make you feel better as a Broncos fan, because right now y'all in trouble in that division y'all are in. And then, of course, you've got Baker Mayfield if he's healthy. And everybody cracks on Baker, and I think that the Browns need to go ahead and at least franchise him this year for whatever 20 whatever million it is, kind of like what Cowboys did with Dak. Franchise a couple years to see if he's going to do it, and if he continues on the because this year he was hurt. So, but if he continues to get them W's and continues to win, then yeah, you pay him the money. But to give him $40-something million a year, yeah, no, he ain't that guy yet. So I'd probably franchise him this year, maybe one more year, just to see where he's at. And then if he does it, then kind of like what you did with Dak, just go ahead and pay him after that. So, but anyway, Burrow getting back to the show. Let's face it, it took Tennessee and Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing the ball away, throwing an interception at the end. It took the Chiefs, which still to this day, I don't know how the hell they didn't score a touchdown in there. But Eric Bieniemy, that's probably why you're not a head coach right now, because you had a chance to get your boys, your guys into the Super Bowl. And if you're calling the plays, you did not make the correct plays in order to get the Chiefs in the end zone to win the game with under a minute to go. So that's on you if you're if you're really the offensive coordinator and you really call it plays. Those are on you for not getting them in the end zone for that to win. So whether they'll get back or not, I think they have a chance to do that. Talking about the Bengals, it's a tough deal, but they've got to get their O-line fixed. They've got playmakers in Mixon, Perine, Jamar Chase, and Higgins. So they've got some playmakers. The defensive front, defensive line is very good. So they've got some playmakers. They've got some opportunities. But whether they'll get there or not, I'm not sure about that. So we shall see. Now, whether we'll have either one of these guys back in the Super Bowl next year, the Rams have a far better chance than the Bengals do. Simply because the Bengals in the AFC West, the AFC, and they've got so much stuff to do. Plus, they don't know what's going to happen with Pittsburgh. Who are they going to get as a quarterback? You've got for sure that monster that's in Baltimore is going to be back. And they're going to be hungry because he was hurt all year. So, Lamar, he's going to be back. You know that. And they're going to be back with a vengeance. So you got that. Plus, on top of that, you're not going to be playing kitty cat schedules. You're going to actually be, since you're the Super Bowl runner-ups, you're going to play a tougher schedule next year. So you got that. So the question is, are you even going to be able to get back to the Super Bowl or even get back to the playoffs? So that's going to depend. So we'll see what happens there. So we'll see. But the Rams have a far better chance because the only thing they really got, if Aaron Donald stays, is the 49ers. And they've got to worry about them because the 49ers are going to come back, and we don't know what they're going to do with Garoppolo. We don't know what's going to happen with Trey Lance, whether he can play or not, whether he's going to be a good guy or not. We don't know what's going to happen. So there's a toss-up what's going to happen. But the Rams, really, the only competition they got really in the NFC, the Cardinals, and it's in their own division. That's the Cardinals and San Francisco, maybe Seattle, but, that acrimonious relationship between a quarterback and the head coach, I don't know how that's going to work. And by the way, everybody was giving Russell and his wife a hard time about leaving the other day. Why the hell would we want to stay at a Super Bowl party when Future comes in? Future ain't got shit to lose. Future ain't nobody unless you some sort of rap fan. Nobody knows who the hell Future is. People worldwide know who the hell Russell is. Russell Wilson. So you think that you don't think that the Future was going to start some mess? Hell yeah, he was going to start a mess. Why would Russell want to put his name out there? Why would Russell want to get involved in some of this hoodlum street stuff? Why would he want to do that? He don't have no. Get the hell out of there. Because his Future was going to act a fool just so he can get some likes, just so he can get some press. That's what he was going to do. And it makes him look good in his little mantra of people who follow him. But in the overall schemes of the people who are out there, it makes Russell Wilson look bad. So guess what? He bounced out of there. Well, did the same thing, brother. That's not being scary. That's not being any of that. That's not being a punk. What that's called is being smart. Anyway, we'll talk about Sean McVay moving to the broadcast booth because their owner, Stan Kroenke, does not like to pay people. His GM is underpaid, and his coach is underpaid. But you pay for buildings and you pay for that beautiful stadium in SoFi and you spend all that money. Now you have a Super Bowl winning team. Do you want to do it again or do you just want to say, okay, I won one, I'm out? What do you want to do? You need to go pay your coach. Because if you don't, he can say, okay, I'm out, go to the broadcast booth for a year, then boom, somebody else will take him. Trust me. You don't want him. There's a lot of teams out there take him and draft him and pay him what he's worth. Dude, pay your people. Just like the Bengals. They got the cheapest on in the NFL. Pay your people. If you want to come back, you pay your people. If you don't want to pay your people, guess what? Y'all going to go back into obscurity the way you were before. So you need to do that. So anyway, when I come back, I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, we're going to talk about OBJ's injury. We're going to talk about Kyler a little bit and some more football. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the NBA All-Star Weekend, one of my favorite events. Be right back. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Want to let everybody know we are going to start coming out pretty soon, and we're going to be on the road at least 1 or 2 days a week doing my live stream at different locations. I think our first stop will be Santa Fe Family Life Center. Then we're going to branch out. We're going to go to Rococo's on that one weekend. We're going to do Ned's one weekend or one day at Rococo's. We're going to do another day at Ned's, and then we're going to do a couple of days of cigar places because you know I got to have my cigars. So we know we're going to do that. But anyway, I'll keep you informed and let you know when we're going to be there and when it's going to happen in that. But anyway, let's talk about Kyler Murray and his contract. Dude, Cardinals paid him, man. What are y'all waiting on? Get to do this extension. What are you waiting on? What are you waiting on? The one thing about the NFL, if you do not have a quarterback, I don't care what you got, you're not going to win. Pay the man. Kyler's doing all this little idiotic social media stuff. The same thing Aaron did, Rodgers did, the same thing Russell Wilson did. Hey, stop all that. Just go talk to people. Be a man. Let your agent not talk you into all this nonsense. Just go say, hey, man, come on, pay me. Let's go on and move on. Let's get done what we need to get done. When you look at the Chiefs, what are they going to owe Patrick Mahomes? What is it, $53 million this year or whatever? Something is saying that they're going to pay him that. No, they're going to renegotiate. They're going to put it back down the road. They're going to pay him a huge signing bonus, and they're going to pay him back down the road. They're going to just delay. And why does Patrick care? When he's retired, he's going to have, $5-10 million a year coming into him on the side from the Chiefs. They're still going to be paying him right after he retires because of that contract. So he's going to be getting paid for a long time. So pay the man and move on, please. This is ridiculous. You got 2 pictures of him on your deal for All Pro, and then it's his first draft pick. Really? Just pay the man. Kyler, quick win the baby, and move on. Just pay the guy and then let's move on. This is a story that should not be a story. Kyler Murray is more than worth it to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. Pay the man. Look what he's done. He's coming off his second All-Pro season. Pay the man. The end of story. Let's just move on with that. OBJ. The reports are he tore his ACL, the same one, again. He is, of course, a free agent after this year with the Rams. The Rams should re-sign him for sure. L.A. is a sports town. It's a town that has stars. It's a town that spends money on their players, and it's all started. I saw Colin Cowherd was talking about that. He was talking about how it all started with once the Lakers got LeBron, and then what happened? The Dodgers went out and got Mookie Betts. What did the Rams do? They turned around and they went out and got Matt Stafford. They grabbed OBJ. They went and got Von Miller. What did the Clippers do? Got Paul George. And I'm not even going to talk about the other guy because he's a different cat. He's a lot to me like Kyrie. He's just a different dude. But anyway, there's two schools of thoughts on that. What do you do? Do you do what the Thunder are doing? Do you try to go through the draft to build players, or do what these other teams got? Look, we got draft picks. Let's go trade them and trade for this guy, trade for that guy, and let's get us some talent. And of course, we know with the NBA, unlike football and baseball, well, not baseball so much, but football and basketball is more about chemistry because they're true team sports because you rely on each other so much. Baseball, you kind of do, but your outfielders are out there. They just got to communicate a little bit. Your shortstop and second baseman have to really be good together because, if we create double plays, but your third base is kind of out there, your first base is kind of out there, your center field and fourth, they're all kind of out there. Your pitcher and catcher kind of have to communicate. So your infield is a lot more closer knit. But in football and basketball, it's so much more of a team sport with chemistry. It matters. Now, chemistry has to matter in the locker room in every sport. Soccer, basketball, baseball, football is irrelevant. Volleyball, whatever. Softball, it's irrelevant. It has to matter. Chemistry in the locker room matters. Because if you don't have good chemistry in the locker room, it's not going to work. Now, does everybody like everybody? Hell no, everybody don't like everybody. There's too many individuals. Of course, everybody's not going to like everybody. But as a group, you all have to respect each other and you all have to get along in order to win. And in basketball on the court, you got to have great chemistry within the locker room because you're only talking about 10, 12 players, and really only 8 of those guys really play. So you have to really worry about chemistry. So I think the Rams should re-sign OBJ. He's like I said, he's probably going to miss. He probably won't come back until the end of next year, midway through the season to the end if it's on the same thing, or whether he can even come back or not since it's the same ACL tear, which is weird. Usually it's the other one, like when I tore my Achilles. I didn't hurt it again. I tore my knee. I didn't hurt it again. I hurt a different part of the knee. But the part that they rebuilt, I didn't have to do it again. And then, of course, I tore my other Achilles. I tore both of them because if you tear one, you're usually going to tear the other one at some point. So, anyway, I wish the best for the guy. I'm glad he got his ring. And then on top of that, he was really showing out until he got hurt. And like I said earlier, if he hadn't got hurt, I think that they would have ran away with the Bengals because I don't think the Bengals could have did anything with the Rams defense, which is something that we all thought. But anyway, what I think is interesting is my guy Drew Henthorn was on with me Friday. And he gave me this stupid stat that you could bet on. And it was Embiid with points, rebounds, and assists would have more than what the Super Bowl teams would score combined. Okay, let me tell you that again. That the Super Bowl between the Rams and the Bengals, that Embiid would score more points, rebounds, assists, and points combined than the two teams would score as a whole in the whole game. I was like, wait, what? And guess what? Not only did he do it, he destroyed it. He had 40 points. 15 boards, and 10 assists. So he had a triple-double for that's 65 points if y'all keeping score. And guess what the score was? 23-20. 43 points. He almost scored as many points as they did points combined. That's some crazy stuff. But anyway, my boy HuskerDrewPicks.com. You might look him up if you decide you want to get some games to bet on. He was unbelievable this weekend with what he won as far as the Thunder, picking Thunder to play and other stuff. So I think he was pretty much undefeated this weekend for his picks. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that Friday on the show. But anyway, I want to talk about the end is that Carson Wentz being let go by, or possibly being let go by Indianapolis. I wasn't a Carson Wentz fan in the first place. He and Jared Goff both got picked first and second pick. I was just like, they're from where? They're doing what? You want to do what? Wait, what? Huh? They didn't play against competition, really. Are you serious? Now, of course, Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl and stunk it up. But the Rams completely underachieved with him because when the pressure was on, he was nowhere to be found. Carson Wentz, did he win a Super Bowl? Yeah, but he was not playing. Nick Foles was the quarterback. So did he underperform and underwhelm? He sure did. And quarterback is something we talk about, how hard it is. Quarterback is you can't plug and play, which is what Denver thinks they're going to be able to do. If they don't get Aaron Rodgers, then what are they going to do? Jimmy Garoppolo going to be available? Who's going to be available? What about the Steelers? What are they going to do? And our guy who played at OSU is their backup quarterback. He ain't the one. Mason, sorry, you're an OSU guy. I'm an OSU guy, but bro, you didn't get the job done. So I'm thinking that's interesting. But let's move on to the NBA, and we're going to close that here in a little bit. Basketball, of course, we all know that's my fave. And, talking about LeBron, and we all know that LeBron wants to play with his son, Bronny, in a couple years. So where does that leave the Lakers? Because right now, Bronny's a 4-star. I mean, he's a really, really good player. He's not a great player. But is he going to come out of this rookie year? I mean, not just freshman year in college. Where is he going to go to college? A lot of people say Duke. I'm like, well, Coach K ain't there anymore. Well, why would he go to what is the attractiveness of Duke? Because I've talked about many times, kids don't go to school because of the school. They go to school because of the coach. So that's why I'm a big proponent in if somebody wants to leave, you can leave, but one time. If you want to leave some school for whatever reason, you get one freebie. If you want to leave the next school, then it's going to cost you a year because I don't think you can just be able to jump from school to school. But you go to the school because of the coach. The coach can leave anytime he wants. Why can't you? Same thing. Exact same thing. Like I heard this guy talking about Ben Simmons and how the NBA, how they're ruining the league. Well, players can get traded. They have no say. Zero say. They can trade you anywhere they want to. So why wouldn't you be able to say, hey, look, I'm not happy here. I want to leave. If they're not happy with you, they can get rid of you. Why can't you say I'm not happy? I want to go somewhere else, trade me somewhere else? What's the difference? There's none. They should be able to do that. If I'm not happy, if you're not happy with my performance, you can trade me, fire me, cut, whatever. If I'm not happy there, but the way y'all are treating me, why do I have to stay there? Why can't I leave just like you can do the same to me? It should be a two-way street. I have zero problem with that. And plus, my issue is, if you don't want to be here, well, get the hell out. If you don't want to hang out with me, don't be here. Bye. You don't have to come. You don't have to be here. If you don't want to be here and play your hardest and do your best, then get out. Bye. Go away. I don't want you unless you want to be here. So that's how I feel about that. So anyway, LeBron leaving the Lakers, if that happens, or the Lakers drafting him, which I think is more if he doesn't get drafted and he decides to pick up, I think the Lakers will pick him up. But the reality is some other team will draft Bronny just because they know that LeBron will probably leave the Lakers. Because remember, LeBron was, after this next year, he can go and do whatever he wants. He didn't have to stay with the Lakers. He can do whatever he wants next year. So that's why he left it open so he can do whatever he wants. And we all know he wants to play with his son because the only other father-son to be able to do is the Griffeys, which, of course, we all remember how both father and son, Ken Sr. and Ken Jr., hit home runs in the game, which still, to me, is just unbelievable that they did that. So, but anyway, the question is what's going to happen with the Lakers? Because we know when LeBron left Cleveland went to the shitter. When LeBron left Miami went to the shitter. Now, of course, Miami has great leadership and great management. So what do? They bounce right back after a few years, and they're right back in the mix. Have they won a championship yet? No, but they're right back in the mix again. And we all know that getting a championship in the NBA is not easy, nor in college football, unless you're Alabama, and they pretty much are there all the time because they just recruit better than everybody else. And everybody wants to go play for Saban. And like I said, it's not the school, it's the coach that you want to play for. And OU's gotten a good job of football of getting the coach that they want in order to be able to create on the next level, just like Oklahoma State has Mike Gundy, and Gundy likes his style of recruits that he gets. So remember, it's about the coach, never about you. Never about your school, it's about the coach. So don't get all, schooly about it. It has zero to do with your school. They don't care nothing about that nonsense unless their dad went there. And you'll see Barry Sanders' son went to Stanford. He didn't come to Oklahoma State. Just because you went there doesn't mean your son's going to go there. You're going to go to another school. We need to talk about Charles Thompson. His son went to where? Texas. He's at OU. Of all the places to go, you can go to Texas. Probably the only thing worse than Oklahoma State. So, anyway, we're talking about Casey Thompson, who I love. Casey's great young man. Great young man. Great. He's a young man now. He's not a kid. He's a young man. I've known him since a kid, but he's a young man now. So, question is, what happens with that? Does LeBron leave, or did the Lakers draft? I think the more chances LeBron's going to leave because somebody else that he picks up, they're going to want LeBron and they want to go. But the problem is LeBron does not like to play with younger players. He wants to play with veterans. And the problem with veterans is it works for 1 or 2 years. You do get a championship. Then after that, they're old, they can't move, and then you're stuck with no draft picks and a bunch of old guys who can't defend and can't play, which is going to be the Lakers' quarry. But fortunately, it is the Lakers. Fortunately, you do live in L.A. Fortunately, the beautiful best point about it is you play for the most glamorous organization in sports, and that would be the Los Angeles Lakers. The only thing close to that would probably be the Cowboys, if that, which I don't really consider them glamorous. That's more like Jerry Jones loving his players and paying them out the wazoo, even though he did not want to pay. Dak Prescott ended up doing it. So anyway, tonight the Thunder have the Knicks, and man, I don't know. The Knicks are just weird to me. I don't know what kind of team they are. I really don't. The Knicks. You don't know which team you're going to get with the Knicks. You really don't. You really don't. I don't know which team's going to show up. I don't know if it's the Knicks team that beat the Warriors or the Knicks team that got slammed. I have no idea which team's going to show up with them. Zero. I have no idea what's going to happen with them. But anyway, it's going to be a good game as long as the Thunder, like we talk about many times, what do? You got to be patient on the offense. Okay? Not settle for threes, please. Going 11 for 45 and stuff. That's why you get beat when you have a percentage like that. Stay aggressive. Be aggressive going to the basket. Keep moving without the basketball. And please, if you can finish, you're at the lane or finish at the rim, it's going to make a huge difference. Then you can shoot some threes. But you got to cut down from 40-something threes to about 30. You're going to have to make that a conscious effort to cut down on your threes and make more mid-range. Dort, you're just going to have to play smarter. You play hard. I love your intensity, but you just got to learn how to play smarter and play within yourself. And quite frankly, I understand the Thunder's trying to ask you to do more than what you're capable of doing at this point. But fortunately, we get SJA back after the best All-Star weekend in all of sports, which is the NBA All-Star weekend, which clearly trumps the Pro Bowl, which is a joke, and Major League Baseball All-Star game. Neither one of those are even close to being on the charts with those. But the Thunder need to do those things. We need to play defense by committee, which means we have to be able to, everybody come in. If somebody's driving to the basket, hey, leave your guy. Then you come down and you cover him. Next guy comes over. We cannot have two guys hanging out on the perimeter when a shot goes up, which is what killed us the other night. Shot goes up, the Bulls get the rebound. Why? We got two guys sitting out on the perimeter at the three-point line. And we have two guys in there rebounding. And we have no size. And I talk about this offseason. Size and guys who are athletic can shoot the basketball and defend. That's what we got to find. If we're going to be competitive, we need some size inside, and we got to have some guys who can score, who can defend, but mainly who can shoot the basketball. That's what we need, okay? Poku, he was a nice experiment, but he's just not going to be long-term, going to get it done. Neither is Baisley. It's not going to happen. I mean, he's too up and down. It's just not going to happen with either one of them. Jerome, nice little player, not going to happen. Maladon, yeah, no. But after the season, we'll do a breakdown of all the players and what I think is going to happen. But remember, this weekend is the best weekend in sports, and that is the NBA All-Star Weekend with the Slam Dunk Contest. Can't wait to talk to my boy Drew Henthorne on Friday about that, the players who are going to be in it, what are our chances to win, what are the odds on who's going to win. And then, of course, tonight is Big Monday, and that is OSU versus KU at Lawrence, which is one of the best facilities in the country to watch a basketball game. The Fog is just an unbelievable place. And I've won there, so I'm happy. Unlike Iowa State and Nebraska, which I couldn't get. I mean, I can go to Missouri and win. I can go to Kansas and win. I can go to K-State and win. But I couldn't go to Iowa State nor Nebraska and get a W. Go to Colorado and win. But that's just beyond me how that didn't happen. But, whatever. But anyway, remember, Thunder game tonight. Of course, I want to wish everybody a happy Valentine's Day. I hope y'all have a good time. I hope you're nice to your dates and your wives. I hope y'all have already bought them candy and a card. And remember, always get a card. Because flowers you can order, that has nothing to do with you. But remember, a card is something that you got to spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes looking to find the right card. So a woman will always appreciate a card more than she was anything else, because it really took some effort and planning for you to actually do that. So anyway, thank you for watching this edition of the Unpopular Hour. I'm your host, Matt Clark. Happy Valentine's Day. Everybody be safe tonight. Peace out and go Thunder.